Hey everybody, it's Shaman Sister Sin, and you're listening to the Meditations and More podcast brought to you by littleshaman.org. That's me, Little Shaman. Today I wanted to talk to you about how narcissists have nothing to give. In most relationships, there is a give and take. Both parties give some and take some. They support each other, they help each other, there's a balance. In narcissistic relationships, this does not happen. Narcissistic relationships are totally imbalanced, with the narcissistic partner taking everything all the time and giving nothing. Many people feel this is malicious on the narcissist part, that they are purposely not giving, that they are purposely withholding love, and that's understandable, but that viewpoint assumes the narcissist has something to give in the first place. They don't. Narcissism is, at its basic definition, the inability to separate or distinguish the self from the external world around it. This is why narcissists believe the world revolves around them. In their experience, it does. They have none of the boundaries between themselves and the outside world that the rest of us have. They are like very young children in this way. You only see that failure in really young children and people with disordered personalities. In children, it's because they've not matured enough for it to happen yet, and in disordered individuals, it's because they didn't either, for whatever reason. Everything happens because of them, and to them, and for them. They are the master of the universe, for good and for bad. Because of this, there's no ability to understand that other people are separate individuals from themselves. They cannot appreciate other people in this way. I've said before in other podcasts that when narcissists look at other people, they don't see a separate individual with feelings and needs and wants and goals the way that non-narcissistic people do. They see a mirror reflecting themselves, either positively or negatively. This is the extent to which they can engage with other people. What does this say about me? It's not something they're doing on purpose. It's not like they're choosing to see people the way they're seeing them any more than you're choosing to see people the way that you do. It's just what it is. However, because of this failure to separate, their emotions are all for themselves. They really don't have any for anybody else. It's understandable that in a relationship, people want fairness and love and trust and support, but narcissists have nothing to give you. They are focused solely on themselves because their inability to distinguish the self from the external world dictates that all things flow to and from the self. The self is the world, and the world is the self. This is where all their projection and delusional thinking comes from. This is where every problem they have stems from. Even when they seem to be focusing on others, they're not. Examination of the focus nearly always reveals that it's the self rather than other people. For instance, when they talk about what you've done wrong, it's to make themselves look or feel better and things like that. You as a person and the things you have done do not interest them in the slightest unless it relates to them somehow. It's not personal, it's not purposeful, it's just how it is. It might sound like that's excusing the narcissist, but the truth is, it's arguably worse that it's not a purposeful action because that means it's not something they're choosing to do and can therefore choose not to do. It's just how they are, and there's nothing anybody can do about that. It's important that people understand that so they can truly accept the situation. You cannot get what you want from pathologically narcissistic people. They don't have it to give to you. It's not because you're asking too much, it's because they have too little. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't get blood from a stone. They have nothing to give to anybody, not just you. You might as well ask them to be a foot taller or fly around the room by flapping their arms. Now, you can stay in the situation if you choose, of course. That's entirely up to you. But if you choose to do that, be sure you truly understand what you're dealing with. This person will likely never be able to give you what you want and what you deserve. The relationship will always be unfair. You will never be considered, appreciated, or respected, let alone loved. They just don't have it in them. Your job, and it is a job, will be to carry the narcissist through life, absorbing their negativity, taking their abuse, and waiting patiently until they feel like bothering with you, and you must be grateful for the chance to do all of that. Failure to do any of these things, the minute, the very second you are required to do them, failure to be pleased with the crumbs you're being thrown, and even the suggestion, the hint that you have needs of your own will result in dismissal of you as a person and perhaps even being discarded completely. There will be no sympathy, no understanding, and no support for you unless they can somehow get something out of it. If you are sick, if you are tired, if you are stressed, if you are a human being who just has bad days, makes mistakes, or is ever wrong, you will be punished unmercifully for your failure. And yes, it is a failure to the narcissist. They see you as two-dimensional, and there's no consideration for you or any understanding at all that you're a human being at all. It's kind of like a man driving a horse. The horse is pulling a very heavy cart loaded up with bricks up an endless hill. He drives this horse day and night, never letting the horse stop or rest or sleep or eat. He whips the horse continuously, making it pull and pull and pull. The horse finally drops down dead under the strain, and then the man stands there scratching his head, wondering what was wrong with that lazy horse. He figures it must have been defective and goes and gets another one, which he proceeds to treat exactly the same way. When that one dies exactly the same way, he assumes he got another bad one and starts all over again. This is how pathological narcissists treat human beings, like they are machines with no feelings. Push this button, the machine does one thing. Push that button, it does something else. Your suffering means nothing to them, except when it relates to themselves. For example, if they can say, I hurt you, haha, I'm powerful and important. Or they can say, I hurt you, boo-hoo, I'm scum and no one loves me. Then it will matter as far as it can be used. Other than that, it's meaningless. Nothing that does not directly affect them means anything to them. In the end, the ball's in your court. It's a question of what your expectations are and what you will accept in your life. They are what they are. Trying to change them is futile. Trying to make them care is pointless. People can't be forced to feel feelings they don't have, and that's just the way it is. They don't have a choice. They are what they are, but you do. You can choose not to deal with people who don't treat you the way you deserve. Maybe the question really is, what do you think you deserve? I hope this clears a few things up for you. As always, I look forward to your comments, questions, and suggestions, so please keep those coming. You've been listening to the Meditations and More podcast brought to you by littleshaman.org. That's me, Little Shaman. May the Great Spirit bless you and have a wonderful day.